So we kind of talked about this idea of within what I'm leading, I'm trying to make it so that there's still space for the follower to do stuff within that, and I encourage it rather than shutting it down. And followers, for you to kind of push and experiment with that boundary so you can see how you can change and influence things. And then once we established that, we moved into the idea of leaders, how I might give the follower specific opportunities to style that they can use. But that doesn't really work very well if I was shutting them down in the first place. It works better if you're already encouraging styling to then give them the opportunity to do more. So we started with Sugar Push, and we just talked about that idea of having your frame be malleable. So if she wants to twist in this, she can. My frame's a little flexible. I'm not rigid, but you notice how she suddenly didn't want to do it anymore. It's like she can, but it doesn't feel good, right? We also talked about what if she wants a little bit more connection? What if she wants to lean into that farther or less? I'll support that. And then we also talked about the timing idea of like, we did this drill where they set themselves back. So you can kind of feel like, when's the moment where they want to go? So that you don't push them out when they're still in the middle of something, or hold them in it for longer to where they kind of feel stuck. So we just did a bunch of Sugar Pushes in a row where we let the follower kind of move through those differently, right? Where they're playing with their shape, their timing, and how much compression they might want as well. And I'm not jamming those opportunities up. But you notice now she doesn't want to do anything when I do that. Okay? We have the same idea in the Sugar Tuck. We did the figure 4 styling just because that was a really visual and obvious representation of when she's ready to go the other way. Make that bigger and slower for me. Don't do that to them. See how that cut off that motion? I would have wanted to feel and notice that's where she's ready. Okay? We then talked about in the anchor specifically, how leaders, I try to notice when my follower isn't quite ready to go, and I'll gentle my one just a little bit so they don't get yanked. So super ready to go. We then had do the check into the side. So we went check and to the side. Don't make them waddle on one, right? I would soften that. You're like, oh, are you good? And I gave her time to collect that. Or alternatively, we had check and then cross, boom, and then over. And I gave her time to fix that with her foot rather than making her try to do that. Followers, we have the riskier one where over-rotating to 4 for me. And then we have the walk, where you switch your feet, walk. And this one's not gonna go well if I yank. So followers, this is not the first one you try with them. This is after you've established they react well. And we've got the sweep into the next thing, right? And then we just played with the idea of followers of like, okay, cool, he's reacting well. Well, then don't always give your basic anchor position. Mix it up a little bit because it inspires us to lead different things. So we had you find your anchor connection and then try maintaining that anchor connection while working in different positions. I was like, oh, and then leaders, can I lead them from one of those? Give me another one. Can I lead her from there? And so we mixed that up a little bit. And then leaders, we talked about how what the follower does, sometimes I don't just allow it, it causes me to lead something differently. We played with this one on the Sugar Push, where the follower is rotated to the left through 3 and 4. And that makes me kind of want to open and create a prep right there. That was a really simple example. I showed, though, how more generally her doing that winds her up and makes me want to turn her to the right. So I could use that for something more complicated if I wanted. So maybe I make that a fancier pattern instead of just the open prep. But the open prep was an easy example for everybody. Then we talked about when she's messing with the anchor, right? Like if she takes it off on a diagonal, right? If she goes, yeah, she's over there, then if I stay over here, this is the angle I'm going to lead on. Alternatively, if she moves over there but I move with her, then that might put some drift in the next pattern. Or if she's going that way and I go with her, then maybe that pattern is going to have some drift in it. Or if I don't go with her, there's the diagonal that I lead on. If she put more or less power into the pattern, we talked about if she opened up, right? Give me 6 way to open for me. So come back here, open, yeah. If she opens 6 like that, that makes me really want to rotate her into the next thing, for example. So now followers, you mixing up your anchor ending starts to influence what we lead next, and I find that I feel a lot more creative from that. Followers, that doesn't mean do that every time or do that largely every time. Try making really tiny changes as well. Like I'm here, but I'm a little more open, or I'm a little bit off to the side, or I'm a little bit more closed. Okay, then we moved into kind of our specific examples. simple repetitive motions that the followers can embellish. I showed a whole bunch, but the one we did was from the outside turn right here on the shoulder, giving her those walks. Or I also showed the version where I just use my arm right here. That one I might let out farther. Boom. Right? I can also do that in a straight line going forward. So maybe I want to walk her this way instead. And she's embellishing those walks instead of just following exactly what I'm leading, which is really just this. But that's not exciting. I'm leading that because I wanted her to do something with it. We talked about slow motions. We did that slow turning drill. Right? And then the example I used was the whip with the single outside turn. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Really slow right here. Right? And then the last one was kind of an open-ended pattern where I start an idea and then I let the followers finish it. And for that one, we did this inside turn here. I rolled in, gave her a bunch of momentum, and then let her do something with the momentum to finish it. I think that was everything. Anybody feel like I forgot anything? Going once? Going twice? Cool, so now you're going to show me all of